Hello, so my name is Cassandra Sandoval, and I did my TLP on two things actually. They kind of go hand in hand. I did it on student engagement and student accountability. So, to start off with my interview report, I first did Mr. Campbell, and to give him a little bit of a background, he's a Lamar High School alumni. He attended Lamar High for 4 years. He earned a scholarship for football at Azusa Pacific University, where he earned his BA last year in 2020, and so that means that he's a first year teacher, and he's earning his credential as he's teaching. So, um, a little bit of background on Lamar High. I actually went to that high school, so I know a lot about it. It's very diverse. We have kids that come from different towns because their towns are too small enough to have a high school, so they all come to our high school. And we also have the naval station there. So the military families, we get those students also. Um, to generalize Mr. Campbell's interview, um, what works in his classroom, he said it was hard to say because he only has a couple of students in person with him. They can only be on at the time. They were only allowed on campus partially, so majority of his students were online. Some of the successes he had was when his students did their sit and reach assessment along with their power assessment. Oh, sorry, background. Um, he's a PE teacher for Lamar High School, so they did their power assessment and sit and reach, and he said it was nice to see that the students that passed and didn't pass, um, they realized how much stretching affects their daily motions and their flexibility. So you might think, oh, that's an easy stretch, I can do it, but can you really, like the hand over here? So he said it was awesome to see his students participate in that and actually do it and realize that, dang, I do need to stretch more often. So for challenges, the main one he pointed out was that he unintentionally gives his students in person more attention than the ones online. Um, he says it's hard to keep that balance and to keep equal attention for both because the ones in person, they're there in person with you and you want to help them because they have more questions and they're able to ask more questions. Whereas the ones online, you kind of forget that they're there because they're on that laptop. So he said that's the main issue and problem for him. And then also not having the camera on, he doesn't know what they're doing and if they're following along with him. So as far as the unexpected, I had asked him if having the camera on was required, and he said no. So that's why majority of his students don't have the camera on. So that's why he doesn't know what they're doing and if they're following along. Um, for as far as my action plan for his class, I would like to resolve the issue by creating a more exciting lesson that for those who turn off their cameras and don't want to pay attention, I want to get those kids to want to participate. So creating something fun to where they want to turn on their cameras and like a competition almost. So to show and prove to the teacher and to the other students that are looking that, hey, this is what I'm doing and I'm beating all of you guys kind of thing. Um, so that was that. For my second interview, I did Miss Pena. So background on her, she's actually my aunt. Um, she got her bachelor's and credential in a multi-subject in 2010. She's been teaching at Huron Middle School for 11 years now, and she teaches ELA and history. I believe she said her main class is eighth graders. Um, So she's actually up to date with majority of technology. She owns a MacBook. She's always on her iPhone. She posts a lot on Facebook, very active on social media. When I was mentioning to her and went over her with my lesson that I had created, she actually mentioned some of the tech tools that we went over in class. So it was pretty cool that she kind of knew what I was trying to do and this so forth. So she kind of helped me in this and that. So we kind of went back and forth. As far as motivation, she said that what helps her is smiling, keeping her energy up throughout the whole day, keeping eye contact to the camera. Something that caught by surprise for me, also, same thing. She said that her district does not require the students have their camera on. And I think it's crazy because here in Clovis, my little sister goes to Clovis High and they're required to have their cameras on. If they don't have their cameras on, then they get marked absent. So I just thought it was amazing, like how the different districts vary and so forth. And I had asked her why, and she said that it's for the to save embarrassment of the students because and to keep the students safe, because she gave an example like if the kids don't like what they're showing in as a background, or if their family member kind of creeps in like randomly or whatever it may be. So she said for the safety of the students. The main problem for her in her classroom was, not, like I said, like just with Mr. Campbell's class, not knowing if they're participating and following through with the lesson because their cameras are off. So she might ask questions and a couple will answer, but she says she has 100. For her, she has 100 students in her one class for an hour and 15 minutes, I believe. So majority of them have their cameras off, so she doesn't know who's following along, and let alone having 100 students in your classroom, it's hard to know who's understanding and who's not. So that's a big issue for her. So that's why I chose both student engagement and accountability. So for my action plan for her class, I would like to, same thing. I would like to create something fun and engaging for the students. I want to create a lesson where the students are going to want to participate, not feel like they're forced, but like, oh, maybe I do want to try this and that. So I want them to be able to use their knowledge and use research to create a project, and then that will help demonstrate if they actually understand and have knowledge of what they're learning during that lesson or during whatever they're learning about at that time, which is the Gold Rush. So for my statement of impact, like I said, the main problem is student engagement and accountability because of the camera situation. Obviously, we can't do nothing about that because it's district rules. But my goal is to, like I said, to create a lesson to where the students are going to want to turn on their cameras because they want people to see them do good, see them get somewhere, see someone winning, so-and-so competition, stuff like that. And I believe that my lessons created that, and it created an environment where they want to share amongst each other. So for my roadmap, I hope that the students, well, it kind of varies. So for Mr. Campos' class, the lesson I created, I hope they get it within that day. As far as Miss Pena's, they're going over the Gold Rush. So I hope that they soak in the knowledge within a week. So the two classes kind of differ because one's PE and it's more understanding to get in within a day, and then for her class, you're learning about the whole Gold Rush. So I give or take about a week. Moving on to the feedback and comparing and so forth. Mr. Campbell actually had good things to say about my lesson plan that I had given him. He said that he learned the tech tools and heard about them in his credential program that he's going through now and in his undergrad, but he would have never thought to bring them into his classroom because he teaches PE. He feels like he would have never done something like that, and he thought it was cool that I had brought something into his classroom, doing, even if it was just about stretches. So he thought that was pretty cool, and he wants to know more about the different tools and how he can incorporate them now in his lessons, so he can see what students are doing what, and it's something brand new, so maybe the students will have more fun with it. For Miss Pena's lesson that I gave her, she, like I said, we were going back and forth kind of with ideas because she knows a lot of the different tech tools already. So when I was going over it with her, she had a lot of good things to say. She said that she thinks that her students will actually love my lesson, that she thinks that they will give their full efforts into it and put all throttle into it. That is not going to be the bare minimum and this and that. She likes I added in that students kind of comment on each other's posts, and everybody has to post comment on different ones so that not one person is getting the same comments like, oh, good job and this and that, so she liked that, and she wants to learn more about different tech tools also. So it was pretty good. It was a good experience. I like that I had the experience to work with a teacher that's been teaching for years now and a brand new teacher, and then one teacher that's PE and the other one's ELA and history. So it was pretty cool to see the difference and how you can bring in tech tools into one. So it was awesome. So I really had fun with this TLP, and yeah, that's pretty much it for my my TLP presentation. Thank you guys.